Hello everyone, welcome to this week's GT Sport Daily Race C Race and Strategy Guide. Week number 8 is taking us to the fictional Japanese circuit of Kyoto Driving Park. It's the Yamagiwa plus Miyabi in reverse layout, and we are in the Group 4 machinery for 8 laps. It's a pretty long lap, so it's actually a decent length Daily Race C. Tyre wear is at times 4, fuel at times 2, just the racing hard tyres available. There is a mandatory pit stop in this one, which is basically the main focus of this video. BOP is on, it's a rolling start, damage is off, and the slipstream is real. Now, a little bit disappointed with this combination coming up so soon after we last did it. It was only in October of 2021, so 15 or 16 weeks ago that we did this exact same car and track combination with exactly the same tyre and fuel multipliers. It was the introduction of the mandatory pit stop to the game. It was the very first time that we did actually have a mandatory pit stop. Now, quite a few people that there's kind of mixed views on the mandatory pit stop. Some people think it's entirely pointless, don't really see the point in it. Personally, myself, I quite like it. I think it turns what would just be a boring no-stop race into something a little bit more strategic. Gives you some options to try and make something work by kind of getting out of the traffic that you're fighting with and trying finding some clean air and then jumping them once everybody has went through that pit stop phase. So I'm a little bit of a fan of it. I do think it kind of adds a little bit of spice to what would generally be a fairly boring race. Now, the question you always have to ask yourself though in a mandatory pit stop race is whether you change the tyres or not. In some races, like the Group 4 race at Catalonia a few weeks back, where the tyre change cost you 4 seconds, it was a little bit of a no-brainer. It's a little bit different on this one. So let's take a look at that pit loss and fuel and compare those tyre changes and see what that difference is going to be. Now, we are in the Renault Megane Trophy in this one. We're not changing the tyres on this pit stop. 1.9 seconds stationary time to not change the tyres. Comes in at 16.7 seconds overall for your pit loss with no tyre change, and fuel is no issue whatsoever, as you probably would expect. So the Renault Megane Trophy was actually probably the best car around this combination last time, along with the WRX, but the Megane Trophy is much better on tyres, which is why most people use this car in this way. So I come towards the end of our 8-lap run here. We'll zoom in on that tyre wear. I'll give you an idea as to why. There isn't really a lot of point to changing the tyres, because tyre wear is fairly negligible. As the hard tyres we're on, tyre wear is only at times 4, so yeah, the Megane Trophy is a little bit of a fairy on its tyres as well, so that's why most people pick this car and why it's quite strong around this combination. So 20 minutes and 31 seconds, so a nice length of Daily Race C, very, very streamer friendly. You can be back into another race very, very soon. Let's compare that though with the pit loss with a tyre change, because as I said, in Catalonia it was a little bit of a no-brainer at 4 seconds. Now, I do remember last time we did this, and you may be a little bit surprised with the numbers that are about to appear on the screen. So this was a run in the WRX, pitting at the end of lap number 5. Now, if you are going to make the tyre change, laps 3 to 5 are really the only sensible options, so you kind of can actually benefit from those fresh tyres. And if you do decide to take on a set of fresh tyres, believe it or not, it's only 1.3 seconds longer in the pit lane. Now, you're probably thinking that's nothing, surely you just change the tyres to make sure you've got better tyres towards the end. But in a race like this that is extremely tight, very, very small margins are going to come into play. 1.3 seconds could mean the difference between losing 3 positions, 4 positions, and are you going to be able to use those fresh tyres that effectively towards the end of the race and actually make up those places, or just lose more time fighting with those cars? That is definitely the question you're going to need to ask yourself in this one. But we'll just go through the strategy options here, reiterate some of the stuff that we've already discovered. So everyone is tied into that mandatory stops. The strategy comes down to the timing of that pit stop. Starting towards the front, you're likely to leave that pit stop towards the end. If you do make that pit stop early when you're starting at the front, 16.7 seconds lost in the pits. The field spread is going to be about 12 seconds from lap 1, from P1 to P20, and after a lap that's going to be about 15-16 seconds. You're very likely just going to be pitting into traffic. So you're starting towards the front, my recommendation is to leave that pit stop till later in the race. Let the field spread out, let the race unfold a little bit. If you're starting mid-pack, then obviously it really just comes down to race circumstances. If you're fighting like cats and dogs, you're lapping 3-4 seconds slower than you know you can, get into those pits, try and find some clean air, try and make something work. Starting towards the rear, it's likely you're going to lean towards an early stop. The tyres are a little bit more complex. That loss is only 1.3 seconds, although generally, if you're in the Megane Trophy, I would recommend not changing tyres, even though that loss is minimal. The tyre wear is so low, and the tightness of this race means that even though you would have slightly better tyres, you're probably going to lose a couple of positions, and it's going to take a lot, circumstances are going to have to be in your benefit for you to kind of really benefit from changing those tyres. If you do decide to change the tyres, if you just really are that bad on tyre wear, then usually laps 3 to 5, just so you get the maximum benefit from the tyres, is how you want to be playing that. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much into depth in this one. There is a guide on the channel from when we first kind of had this race. I will leave a link to that. It's a little bit more comprehensive. If you're looking for lap guides for this race as well, I know Tidgeon will probably do one in his video. I know Mr. MCA is planning on doing one in the Supra, so do check that out as well if you're looking for a comprehensive lap guide and how to get a Group 4 car around this track. But we'll pretty much leave it there. As I said, there is a more comprehensive guide on the channel for this exact race from only a couple of months back. I'll leave the link for that. Do check out if you want to. We will live stream this one. We are going to live stream this one on the Monday, so do join me for that if you can. But if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye now.